We got to air it out. Let's air it out. So we got to air it out. Let's air it out. So
how do you say that? Air it out. Air it out.
Air it out.
What is up, ladies and gentlemen, football fans all around the world and all that jazz? My name is Avery Collins. I'm your host today for the Air It Out podcast. Welcome. I am joined by two of my favorite people on the planet. Coach Braxton, say what up to the people.
What's going on, people? What's going on? As a Ravens fan, this is a hard year for us. Lamar's slumping around. We had Josh Johnson as our starter last week. Yeah, my point exactly. Who? Just pray for me, people. Pray for me.
I mean, we ain't gonna talk too much about that right there. We're gonna let you live. Okay, we understand y'all injured, y'all had some COVID stuff, everything like that. But it is what it is. Darius, what is up, man? How you doing? What happened to your boys, man?
Listen, man, we in a little bit of a 2 losing streak. Right after the bye, playing pretty decent, but just gotta fix some things. Mac Jones got to play a little bit better down the stretch. Obviously, this cold weather is really showing. It's really playing a factor, but I have full faith that we get things back together against Jacksonville. So
Ooh, our CEO is already starting right now. He like, nah, we ain't doing that. We ain't letting you live, dog. We ain't letting you live.
I'm changing my course. I'm changing my picks later on. It's okay. Don't worry about it. I can't be nice now.
I mean, listen, we're not gonna go in on you right now. Maybe a little later. Maybe a little later. You know what I'm saying? But today, ladies and gentlemen, actually, let me give a shout out. Let me give a shout out to our CEO and founder of Inside the Hashes. Give a shout out to the CEO, Mr. Jerome himself, and say a very, very happy birthday to you. His birthday was yesterday, ladies and gentlemen. So please shower him with some praise and some love. Shout out to him. Oh, love you, Darren. But geez, yeah, it's rough. It's
bad right now. We want to let it go. We want to let it go.
It's rough, but it's all good. It's all good. So we're gonna get to our first topic today. And it's kind of somber. We never really knew the guy, but we knew the guy. And if you don't know who I'm talking about, the legendary coach and announcer John Madden has passed away at the age of 85 years old. This is somebody who was just an absolute staple in the game of football. You cannot talk about the National Football League without mentioning the name John Madden. He is extremely, extremely ingrained into the culture of football. As Jerome sends out his appreciation, yes, you're getting old. We up there, player. But it's all right. Getting old is a privilege. Speaking of, it was a privilege to know and hear from and experience the life of John Madden. Though, again, we didn't know him personally, it's kind of like we felt like we knew him just because of who he was and what he did for the game of football. And so I want to hear you guys' thoughts, man. What were your thoughts when you first heard this news about John Madden passing away? I'll start with you, Darius.
It was sad. It's crazy because I think when I found out, I was on my way to work and I got Bleacher Report. Bleacher Report break the news before anybody in the sports world. So I saw it. I'm just like, wait a minute, John Madden, like the John Madden, because if you don't know, he had his documentary on Christmas Day. So It was kind of weird of the timing, you know what I mean? And I remember seeing like just previews of him, and he looked pretty well, but you never know what someone's going through unless you're physically there and asking them questions. So, but when you talk about impact, not just in the NFL, but when you talk about impact in the sports world, John Madden has to be one of the top influential sports people in the world. I mean, just outside the game, just what he did on the field, right? And then what he did in the broadcast booth, both, So I think when you look at impact, John Madden has to be one of those guys. When you look 30 years from now, you tell your children, like, hey, John Madden was that guy. The game is named after him, And I remember listening to him commentate and the way he was able to call plays and commentate was just some of the best that I've ever witnessed, and it made me want to. Him commentating made me want to listen more to the commentating than the actual game, especially at a young age. So I think he had that impact on and off the field, and then obviously, like I said, we know the impact on the field with the Raiders and things like that. So it's a sad day in the NFL. I know players were saying their well wishes. I know the NFL on Sunday they're going to do a moment of silence, which I think is really, really dope. That every team is going to do that, because he really is one of those guys that when you look back, like, all right, he helped change the game. He was so influential.
Absolutely. Chris says he made
Yeah.
new generations of football fans just from Madden alone. One of the
Yeah.
biggest legends is gone. R.I.P. to a legend. I could not agree more. I mean, so many people gravitated to the game of football just because of, like, think about it. They gravitated to the game of football just because of his voice. Not because of what he did as a coach, not because of what he did for the game as an ambassador for the game, not because of anything else, but just because of his voice on a video game. And so a huge loss in the community. I mean, my initial reaction was thus. It didn't sit well with me. I was like, oh man, not John. It was really tough because he like I said, he really shaped a generation there. So Coach, I want to hear your thoughts on John Madden. What were your thoughts, hearing of his passing?
So when I heard about it, I believe I was telling my fiance, and I just looked there. I was like, yo, I think John Madden died. Like, I thought it was a joke for a second, because there's always, oh, this person died, especially like Darius said, right after they did a documentary on his life and how important and type of legacy he had. It's kind of hard to believe. And thinking about what I'm gonna say for this today, I just kind of wrote down a couple things that remind me, just words that remind me of John Madden. Gamer, broadcaster, coach, innovator, champion, Hall of Famer, and Madden. Literally, Madden. People, we let's go and break it down. First, the guy is a coach, not only a coach, but a Super Bowl winning coach, and a great team that he got. The guys rallied behind that, man. And not only that, but directly after that, he became the best broadcaster. I'm sorry. For me personally, he was always the best broadcaster. Just hearing him call a game, you knew that game was going to be fun. Even if the score is 3-0, that was going to be a fun game to watch just because of him calling. And then you add on the fact that he has over 20 plus games in his name. And we all know once it hits August time, new Madden's about to drop. We all know what it means. It's synonymous with football. When you hear the name Madden, you hear football. So to lose somebody like that, whether you knew him, whether you didn't know him, boom.
Listen, that boom right there,
genius.
Boom!
John Madden's boom was absolutely legendary. Like, it'll never be replicated, never to be duplicated. John Madden's boom. I mean, you can hear it, and every time you hear it in his voice, right? Like, you can just hear his voice in your head. And as a fan of the game, if you're just watching the guy, not watching, but listen to him call the game, like you said, like Darius said, sometimes his commentary was more interesting than the game itself. He made every game, like you said, Coach, he made every single game exciting, no matter who was playing. If he was on the broadcast, you wanted to listen, man. And you wanted to watch that game because you're like, oh, John's calling it. Oh yeah, we gotta tune in here, man. He was just an innovator, and I love what he brought to the game. His IQ of the game that he brought into the broadcasting booth. It wasn't just a broadcasting or a journalism degree. He brought knowledge of the actual game into the booth as well, and that was something that was just, it set him apart. You think about the game Madden itself, right? When he created the game, he wanted to make sure that the game was real. I think that was the biggest thing for me. He was an adamant advocate for the game being real. Oh, look at this. And never had a losing season as a coach. That's insane, especially in the NFL. And so, yes, I couldn't agree anymore. And so for me, like the other thing that I love about that is the fact that with the game and the fact that he wanted to be real, he submitted one of his playbooks. Right, a lot of people don't know that for the first Madden game, like he submitted a playbook because he wanted real plays in the game. He didn't want generic, just this and that. Like he wanted real, actual plays in the game. And as you see the game evolve, you can see the game become more and more strategy as opposed to just gameplay. You actually have to know how to play the game. You have to know how to call plays and run plays and find loopholes and different things like that and read the defense. And I just loved what he brought to the game. And like I said, he'll never be replaced. He's a legend in he's a household name. And so shout out to John Madden. Much love to you. R.I.P. to him. His family is in our prayers and our thoughts. So yeah, we want to give a huge, huge thank you to John Madden for what he did for the sport of football. So thank you, John Madden. And it's hard to transition into anything else after speaking of something like that and somebody of that magnitude. But I want to ask you guys just briefly, who would you say is the next? Right? Who would you say is like the next guy that could potentially have that type of impact? Not named Joe Buck, right? Joe Buck is obviously a legend in his own right. He's a Hall of Famer. He's going to go down as a goated legend as well when it comes to the broadcasting booth. But not named Joe Buck, who do you guys think could be that next person to have that type of lasting impact in the booth as John Madden did? I'll start with you, Coach.
So if we're talking in the booth alone, I hate these guys. I hate hearing his voice every Sunday Night Football. But Chris and Al, man, like when you think Sunday football, you think about Chris and Al, unfortunately. And as much as I hate hearing his voice for every game, because oh my God, he don't know how to. Can't even say it. But those would be the two. Those would be the two. And it's strictly off of the longevity, the importance, not only the importance, but the games they were able to call. They have some of the best games probably under their belt than almost any other broadcaster right now. So it would have to be those two, unfortunately.
Okay. Yeah, I would say unfortunately because I can't stand Chris Collinsworth's takes sometimes either. This is me during the game a lot of the times. I'll be like, because I'll be like, you played the game. You can't you actually played and that was your take. Like what is going on? I just be
anytime Tom Brady plays, it's oh my God. Oh my God.
Oh man. Now here's a guy. Oh, good.
Yeah.
Oh, goodness gracious. Darius, real quick, who do you think?
I'm gonna agree with you guys. I think those two guys, when you think of Sunday Night Football, you think of Al Michaels, Chris Collinsworth. Sometimes I catch myself muting the game because I don't really want to hear Chris Collinsworth tell a game. But an honorable mention, and I think when it's all said and done, this guy has the potential to do it.
I think I know where you're going.
And it's Tony Romo. Tony Romo, I don't know if y'all watch Tony Romo, but that man can call a game. When it's all said and done, Tony Romo, you're going to talk about Tony Romo as an NFL player because I think he had a pretty good, solid career, obviously injuries and things like that. But his transition into the NFL booth, a lot of people was like, was it going to be that good? How is he going to do? This man can call a game. He's probably one of the best to do it. So when it's all said and done, he has the potential to have that impact. But I said potential. So
yeah, I would agree. And here's the thing: you guys are saying Chris and everything like that, but you don't like his voice. You don't like his takes. You don't like.
But he has. So
it's the
longevity.
I get it.
He has an impact.
That's the thing. I've never heard that about John, and so that's when I say that type of impact. I'm not saying just longevity like John had. I'm talking about the impact as well. Of like, man, I gotta listen to this guy call a game. Tony Romo, to me, is up there. He's already up there. I think that he is phenomenal. Kenny Albert is really good as well. I love Kenny Albert. I love listening to his takes as well. But I think for me, it's Tony Romo, right? I actually do love hearing him call games as well. He doesn't do it as often, but Mike Tirico. I love hearing Mike Tirico call games.
That's my guy.
He's
Underrated.
He's
Very
an
underrated.
amazing
underrated.
caller of the game. But I personally, I love, like I said, I love Tony Romo. He's great. Romo's good, but he annoys you too. Listen,
He annoys me. He annoys me when he predicts the plays because I'm like,
that's what I love. I love
it though.
Cover
I
two.
love
That's
it.
what it means.
Listen, wow, the shade, the shade from the
He's won a
CEO.
couple of games and they don't know how to act.
Oh man,
Listen, man. If there's one thing that you know when you watch a Tony Romo call game, he's calling at least 5 plays, and it's not even just a call. He's gonna call exactly who's getting it,
exactly,
why they getting it in, which way they going.
Yeah,
and that's what I'm like. I know you're a player, but come on.
I love that. I absolutely love it for 2 reasons. And shout out to my dad, Keith Jackson, was to college with John Madden, was to the NFL. Absolutely accurate. But the reason I love that about Tony Romo, and here's the thing, people want to get upset with Tony Romo when he does that, but you got to understand, he's not doing anything that the teams aren't doing in the first place when they're watching film. They know exactly what Tony's doing. Tony's just giving us a little bit of insight into the film room of what they already talk about. They're saying, if you see this formation, this guy's getting the ball, he's going to run this route. This is right. Tony's just showing you his IQ of the game of football and how, like somebody who has an IQ of that level, who's played for as long as he can just dictate and see, like, I know what's coming already. Right. And that's the brilliance of Tony Romo. That's the brilliance of what he brings to the game. That's the brilliance of what John Madden brought to the game. He didn't just bring, fancy quotes and one-liners and stuff. He brought analysis to the game that we never heard before. And that's the reason that I love Tony Romo. And I think personally, he's probably going to be the next guy, in my opinion, to have that type of impact. Not just longevity, but the feeling of, dang, I gotta hear Tony call a game, right? Like, and so that's the guy for me. But it is what it is. Honestly, prefer Romo as a commentator over a player. Listen, I agree 100%. When Tony got in the booth, I was skeptical. After his first game, I was like, I'm a fan. After his first called game, I said, I am a fan of Tony Romo as a broadcaster. He's got it for me. That's what I'm saying. Nobody's touching the guy, Gus Johnson. Gus Johnson's good.
I will say this with really the game that, and I said this, I forgot how many episodes ago, but a game that really set tone, like that made me like Tony Romo's a deal, was the AFC Championship game against the Patriots in Kansas City and Arrowhead. The way he called that game, and even in the Super Bowl, like he had to call that game, then he called the Super Bowl. That's back to back.
Absolutely
not miss. So
absolutely brilliant.
When he did those 2 games, I was like, yo, this guy, he's the real deal. Yeah. And I remember seeing
the player, but he never misses in the booth.
So listen, I mean,
let's not talk like let's not get away from the fact that Tony really wasn't a bad player, right?
He was just hurt.
But as an announcer, absolutely, he is phenomenal. Summerall and Madden are reunited again. Oof. Man, that just brought it home right here. Man. That just brought it home right there, Chris. That's heavy. That's heavy, That's heavy. The way Gus Johnson calls game intensifies my hate for Ohio State. I love it. You know what? You know who else would be great? I don't know if you guys know this guy, but his name is Cotton. That's for my dodgeball fans. Insider. All right.
I know. I know you're talking about.
Right. Listen, speaking of another legend, right? Monday, at a press conference, Mr. Ben Roethlisberger came out and stated that he is starting to see the writing on the wall, essentially, and says that all signs may be pointing to this Sunday's game being his last home game. His last home game of his career at Heinz Field. Like, obviously he said, yes, and we still got a chance to make playoffs. But, again, is Big Ben done? Is this the end of the Big Ben era? Is Big Ben moving on? And then, if so, what are your thoughts about him and his career?
I know Darren had.
It's a bold strategy, Cotton.
I know Darren has something quick to say, so go ahead, Darren.
Okay, cool. So, Big Ben is done. Um, Big Ben was he was a good quarterback for many years. He won 2 Super Bowls, so I can't take that away from him. He was a thorn in my side for years and years. He will not be missed. Um, and yeah, that was it. That's it. That's all I got for you, Big. I can't. Nope. Sorry, that's it.
Okay. All right. Well, there it is. I mean, you said what he said. All right, Darius, what are your thoughts? I mean, do you think he's done? And if so, what's the legacy of Ben Roethlisberger for the game of football?
I believe Big Ben was the last quarterback in that quarterback class with Eli and Phillip that was still in the NFL. It's just time for it to go. And I think last year we saw it, the decline really. They started off 11-0, and then we saw the decline in the loss to Cleveland. He wanted to come back and, rebound and obviously try to make one last push. But I think it's done. I don't see a team really bringing him in to be a starter. If you are, you're really desperate for a quarterback, and you kind of need that bridge quarterback. But as far as his career, Hall of Fame career, he has the accolades. He has 2 Super Bowl wins. Whenever you have a Super Bowl win as a quarterback, you're kind of like, okay, but now you have 2. So I think that that really helped him. He has the stats. He has a 5,000-yard pass season, I believe. He was arguably one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL and definitely in the AFC with Tom Brady, Peyton Manning. When you had those guys, you always had to throw in Big Ben and Phillip Rivers in that picture. Those were the 2 guys that you threw in when you talked about the best quarterbacks in the AFC. So I think when it's all said and done, he's definitely going to be a Hall of Famer, probably a future first ballot. Obviously I think we'll see what happens when his jersey's called, but definitely a really great career. And it's sad to see Big Ben go. So
Wow. I mean, speaking of Hall of Fame, Jerome just said Hall of Fame finalists just announced. So that's pretty interesting. But yeah, I think that Big Ben is easily a Hall of Famer. I think I personally think he's first ballot. I mean, if you put his career numbers, stack him up to some of the greats, I mean, he's up there, right? Plus the Super Bowls, plus he leads in every statistical category in one of the most storied franchises in NFL history in the Pittsburgh Steelers. So I think he's a first ballot Hall of Famer. I question if he should be. And I hate to be this guy, but it happens all the time. They did it to Kobe. They did it to Ray Lewis. They did it to so many others. So I have to ask a question. Does the rape charge that Ben Roethlisberger faced earlier in his career, well, I say charges, did they tarnish Big Ben in your eyes? Does it leave a stain on his career? And I'm going to be honest, I'm going to go there too. Do you think the media brings this up when they start talking about Hall of Fame and about the legacy of Ben Roethlisberger? I'll start with you, Darren.
So, yeah, they definitely got to. It is what it is. We can't hide from it. You can't act like it didn't happen. If it happened to Ray Lewis and he had the murder charges, and yet we all know supposedly he didn't do it. We gotta do the same for Big Ben. We have to. There's no questions about it. And I don't believe he's a first ballot Hall of Famer. I'm sorry. It is what it is. Maybe second, third year, cool. I definitely think he should be in Hall of Fame. But he's not a first ballot. He is not a first ballot Hall of Famer to me. But I will give him credit, and this is why I say he should be in the Hall of Fame. From 2000 to 2020, there were 4 quarterbacks that left out of the AFC to go to the championship. 4. I'm sorry, 5. Can we name the 5? Tom Brady,
Peyton Manning, Big Ben,
Joe Flacco, Patrick Mahomes of more recent, and Big Ben.
Big Ben.
That was it. Those were the 5 quarterbacks that made it to the Super Bowl in the last 20 years from the AFC. 5. And he had it multiple times. All right, I give him that.
Yeah.
Other than that,
yeah, I think he goes to the Hall of Fame. Like I said, I think they'll probably try to push him in first ballot. Darius, do you think that they should bring up these allegations, these charges? Obviously, he was never convicted or anything like that, but do you think that it's something that's a stain on his career? And that, do you think that even in the media, we should even talk about these things in that light, or should we stick to what they did on the field?
It's a tricky question because when you look at it, almost every player has some type of, I won't say every, but right, like you have some players who have some off the field allegations or issues. We named Kobe Bryant, we named Ray Lewis, and those guys, obviously Ray Lewis, like Darren said, we know he didn't do it, but they held it over his head. So I think this is one of those issues that, is it going to be talked about? I don't think so. Should it be talked about? Absolutely, because that's something that had happened, and that's something that really, I would say, probably affected him mentally, and obviously going into that season with everything. So I think as media people, they're probably just going to overlook it. They're probably going to try to, brush under the rug, say this happened years ago and cover it up. But I think I definitely do think that should be talked about a little bit more because, it was a story at that time. That was the story of the NFL, right? We always had, every year, it's always a story of NFL. Antonio Brown for the whole entire summer was the story of the town, right? And every time we got on this podcast, it was always something about AB. It was always something about AB. And when it's all said and done with Antonio Brown, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to say, hey, should the media talk about his off-the-field issues? Or should we strictly just talk about his work ethic? Because if we strictly talk about his work ethic, he's a Hall of Famer, right? Just like Chris said with T.O., he didn't have no off-the-field issues, but they made him wait. Antonio Brown has off-the-field issues. Are you going to make him wait? Are we strictly just going off of his performance on the field because his numbers speak for himself, but his off-the-field issues also speak for himself? So I think when it comes to that time 5 years from now, people are probably going to forget, but obviously they shouldn't, and that should be definitely a topic of discussion when we start to talk about his Hall of Fame career and what he's done on the field and off the field. The good stuff that he did on the field, off the field, and then the bad. Don't just make him seem like a good person. You got to kind of do both, and then let the people judge him based off that.
So it's funny because obviously we know this is a quarterback centric league. Like it's quarterback driven, and everything is about the quarterback and all those different things. So I think because he's a quarterback and not a defensive player like Ray Lewis or a receiver like Terrell Owens, that he'll probably end up skating by some of that scrutiny. But it's funny to me that Colin Kaepernick takes a knee and stands up for social injustice, and he's ostracized from the league. Big Ben has multiple rape charges, and well, I mean, it's kind of like brushed under the rug. It's not even talked about anymore. But hey, it is what it is. Real quick, I'm gonna give you guys a curveball. As you can see, Jerome dropped in the chat the finalists. Give me names here that you're saying like, oh yeah, no, this right. Oh, okay, Darren, talk to me. I see you already. Talk to me.
Patrick Willis. Why is he not already in? We're talking Hall of Fame, right? When you're the Hall of Fame player, you're the best basically at your position over the time you were there. Please tell me one, not even multiple, but at least one linebacker that you can honestly say was better than Patrick Willis at his position.
Ray Lewis.
Nobody.
Ray Lewis.
At his time.
Ray Lewis. They played during the same time.
No. At the time Patrick Willis played, I wouldn't say Ray was better at that time. Ray overall was better, especially when he was younger. But Patrick Willis came when Ray Lewis was a bit older. He wasn't as fast.
Slower.
He wasn't Ray Lewis of the 2000 Ravens. That's why I stated.
He was
when Patrick Willis played.
But he was Ray Lewis in the Super Bowl, too, out here racking it up. I'm just saying. I get
it. But at the time he played, please name one that was completely better.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's you really can't. I mean, there's players you can put in that category, right? Like as far as like what they did during their time, you got names like Ray Lewis, you got names like Luke Kuechly, you got names like Bobby Wagner. But as far as like just pure, I mean, first of all, even some of those guys didn't really instill fear in hearts like Patrick Willis did. He like you like I don't know about going across the middle.
Listen,
I ain't going across that middle.
Yeah.
He rushed the passer. He controlled the entire defense.
Yeah, he was.
And as you said,
and he ran a 4.3.
You feared going over his side.
Yeah,
because let alone you get the catch. Oh, you better hold on. You better hold on.
And he was 240 and ran a 4.3. So that's kind of scary. That's definitely very scary. Darius, the list here again. What stands out to you? Any names that stand out to you? You're like, oh snap! For me, it's Torrey Holt. I'm like, wow, Torrey Holt finally, essentially, like the last piece to fall, right? The last piece to fall in the greatest show on turf. What about you, Darius?
Bring that list up again. Is one name that Jared Allen was probably one of the best. Like this man, 20 sacks was, I think, got jerked away from tying or breaking Michael Strahan's record. But the one name
I know where you're going.
Looking at,
I know where you're going.
He does not get in because he changed the game. I don't even. You already know he changed the game.
He changed it.
I don't even. This shouldn't even be hard. Devin Hester has to be a first ballot Hall of Famer. If he's not a first ballot Hall of Famer, I am not watching football ever. This man teams was scared to kick it towards him. Like a punt return, a kick return, like it's never been done. Like, yeah, Deion Sanders, you didn't want to throw against him and you didn't want to kick it. But Devin Hester was that guy. You was like, I'm not. You watched it. They would kick it out of bounds. Or they would squid kick, like they never kicked it to. He took one back in the Super Bowl against the Colts. Like I'm
so happy you said that.
He's like he has to be like I don't understand why his argument. Well, Devin Hester has to be in the Hall of like. There's not one player whose numbers probably come even close to what he did as just a kick returner, a punt returner. Like Torrey Holt, another guy. This guy was unmatchable. Reggie Wayne's a Hall of Famer. I don't care what nobody said. Reggie Wayne is a I hated Reggie Wayne. I hated Marvin Harrison. I hated Marvin Harrison and Reggie Wayne because those guys were just so. Reggie Wayne could create separation. He had good hands. He wasn't the fastest, but he always just found a way to get to the ball. Andre Johnson, another one. You saw we did the Courtney Finnegan. That should have got him in the Hall of Fame. Right after that, that should have been, you in the Hall of Fame. You put the hands on him. You in the Hall of Fame the next day. Like everybody that I just named, I feel like changed the game in their own individual way. And I mean, it's just that easy, man. It's just that easy. Devin Hester. Come on.
Only player with 100 speed on Madden. Never done before.
Just so good.
Tyreek Hill has had 99 since he's been in the league, basically.
That's the argument that people are going to make because he was a special teamer, but he changed the way. Like you was not kicking towards him. Your game plan, if you was going up against Chicago, was do not kick to Devin Hester. That's the first thing you're saying in the meeting. It wasn't who was it? Rex Grossman. We're not worried about Rex Grossman. We're not worried about Jake. We're worried about Devin Hester. Do not kick him the ball. That was your number one objective in the meeting.
That's literally the scary impact he had on the game. In any team meeting before the game, I agree with you, Darius. I think the first thing they go over, do not kick to Devin Hester. Now let's get into offense and defense. But before we even get our offense or defense on the field, we need to make sure he don't touch the ball. Do not kick the ball to Devin Hester. And we saw what happened in the Super Bowl. Literally the first play, kickoff, and they're literally saying prior to the kickoff in the booth, announcing it like, let's see.
No,
they were literally saying, let's see if they do it. All we heard all week was, we told our kicker, don't kick it to Hester, yada yada yada. And then what did he do?
Kick the red tongue, man.
Literally, if you watch the replay of them going over that Colts win, the very first thing the coach says, do not kick it to him in the first play.
Don't do it.
First play, what you do? You kick it directly to him to give them the lead. They said, do not kick it to Devin Hester.
And I love his reaction. I love this reaction, right? It's the Super Bowl, right? And he could have been like, oh, I just scored a touchdown in the Super Bowl. He walked up and like, this is what I do. Do it again. Kick it to me again. Let's take another one. Y'all, he felt disrespected. I know he felt disrespected at that moment. Like, really? Y'all gonna kick it to me on the first play? What we talking about? You know what I'm saying? Oh, man. Dante Hall jukes, so it has to get blown by everyone.
If you
Dante was a problem. Dante was a problem.
Yeah.
Let's not forget Dante. But again, he don't got the record like Devin Hester. He didn't change the game the way that Devin Hester did, and so that's the reason. Listen, I love it. I love it. First Super Bowl return touchdown on the opening play. Again,
That's
another
history.
record. So many records that he has that I just don't think will be broken. I think Cordero Patterson has retired one of his records. I think it's for like kick return touchdowns, but I still listen. Honestly, I don't know if Devin Hester's
Devin Hester has 20 combined.
Listen, and that's what I'm saying. So combined, I don't think that record is going to be broken any time soon, man. I mean, it's just, yeah. I don't know.
He can't return touchdown in a career. It's hard enough just to get one. He has one.
And he was doing it in the playoffs too. Like, we're not even just talking about, like, he was like, yeah, no, I'm gonna change the playoff game. Like, he was that good.
He helped them in field position. You're getting an easy 6 points if you kick it to him, and you're getting great field position.
He doesn't even have to score to change the game. Just the fact that you gotta kick it away from him maybe changes how your field position just that much, because you might shank it off the side of your foot now because you're trying to keep it away from him. Or if you do kick it to him, he doesn't have to score. But if he gets 40 yards on the return, that changes. Like, he was just so dynamic.
The game changer.
Punters that did not want to punt to him, so they just threw out the field goal unit and tried long kicks.
Yeah.
Like,
all right, so we're gonna get into our last topic. I want to talk to you guys. I want to know some stuff. I want to know. Okay, and we're gonna make this quick so we can move on to the game picks and the hot takes. You know what I'm saying? But we want to talk about who's going to make the playoffs, man. Who's going to make them? Because the playoff race is really, really tight right now. Like, especially in the NFC. It's really, really tight. We don't know which way this can swing. There's so many teams. Even the Falcons have a 1% chance to actually make the playoffs at this current rate, which is absolutely absurd. But they do. So I need to know from you guys, who are your locks? Who are, obviously, other than the guys that clinched, right? Who are your guys? Hester had 5 kick return touchdowns. CP had 8 with drives crit. Man, oh man, yeah. Just bananas. But either way, the fact is, again, Cordero Patterson tied the record. Anyway, with that being said, my question to you guys: who are your locks to get into the playoffs, other than the guys who have already clinched? Like, who do you think are going to be the remaining teams that get in there? I'm gonna start with you, Coach. Talk to me.
Oh, this is hard. So for the AFC, Chiefs, Titans, Bills, and I can't believe this, but the Bengals are going to be locks for me, just making it in. And then my 3 other guys after that would be the Colts, the Pats, and Miami.
Ooh, okay.
You think I like Darren.
Okay.
You think I like Darren.
No Ravens. This hurts. This hurts to say, man. And honestly, for me, it wasn't even, the Ravens are not even in it for me. It was between the Finns, the Raiders, and the Bolts. And that's all because all of them have easier opponents to go through. And on top of that, when you look at it, the Finns are one of the hottest teams right now in the league on their winning streak. The Raiders just beat the Raiders just won their game, and they're still up and down a little bit. But the Chargers, they're one of the most explosive teams, but lose for stupid reasons. So I got to go with the Finns on that. And then for the NFC, Packers, Cowgirls, Rams, and Bucks are in for sure. And then you got to add the Cards because they're already a lock. But the last 2 spots, I can't believe I'm about to say this, but 49ers, I believe, will make it. And then it's kind of a toss-up between the Eagles and the Vikings. It really is. Like, the Eagles and the Vikings, when you look at their record, you look at all of the standings, you look at the points for, points against, you look at the division records, they're too close to call right now. And it's really going to be a coin toss on whoever wins. It's really just going to depend on if the Vikings win out or the Eagles win out.
It'll definitely be interesting to see, man. I can't wait. Like, I would love to see how it's going to play out. Darius, who are your, who are your locks? Who are your teams that you're like, yeah, nah, I think they're going to get in?
With the AFC, I agree with Darren completely. Like, I said it. I think great minds think alike, because the first team, obviously, the first two teams are obviously going to get in, right? And then it kind of trickles down to seeding and division who wants to win a division. But Miami is a team that got hot at the right moment and if they get in the playoffs, to me, they're the most dangerous team if they make the play. I have them making the playoffs, so when they get in the playoffs, you do not want to play Miami. Miami is the type of team that right now they can go in, they can host a playoff game and win, and they can go into your home and win the game. That's how good they are. Brian Flores has done an extraordinary job to turn. They started 1-7. There's a team that's like, oh, okay, it's two of the guy. What's going on with the defense? And they won just 7 straight games ever since then. Top 5 defense. Brian Flores is arguably, I think, should be in the nomination for Coach of the Year for what he's done so far with that team after starting off slow. Come on. With the NFC, I agree. Again, I think the obviously the Packers, Cowboys, Rams, I think those are locks. Those are probably a good teams. The Buccaneers, come on, Tom Brady not in the playoffs. That's kind of weird to think. Arizona, the 49ers, but I think the last seed is really tricky. And I think the Eagles are going to get it because of how they're playing right now. I think the Eagles are just like the Miami Dolphins, I think the Eagles are one of the hottest teams in the NFC just because everything is finally starting to click for them, right? The expectation for the Eagles was just win a couple of games, see if Jalen Hurts is the guy, new head coach. We got 3 first-round picks. We're going to completely rebuild. So now, we're the 7th seed. We have an actual chance to make the playoffs. We play Washington, and then you have to think, if Dallas is already content with not getting the number 1 seed and they play, Dallas not going to start Dak Prescott. So the Eagles are going to put their starters out, but Dallas is going to rest their starters, and that's a possible easy win. So for me, that's how I look at it. I think the Eagles they're going to take that last seed, and they're a complete lock, and then everything else, like I said, I agree with Darren, 110%.
All right. Listen, I'm not going to give too much explanation. I'm going to say, though, obviously we got the locks: Kansas City, Tennessee, Cincy, and I'll say Buffalo is a lock for me. I think Indy obviously gets in. I think they're just what Jonathan Taylor is doing right now is just absolutely it's just beautiful. I love it. I just love it.
Never converting. Never converting. Only in being unbiased. It's called an
He's never converting. He's never converting.
I'm staying with my purple and black. I'm never going to that nasty green.
Okay. All right. But I think the Patriots think they find a way in, and I think that 7th team. I'm going to disagree with you guys. I think Baltimore gets it together. I honestly think Lamar, if he can get healthy, I think they can squeak into the playoffs. It'll be tough, right? It'll definitely be tough, but they're gritty, they're scrappy, and I think they get bounced in the first round if they do make it. But I believe that I think they could potentially get there. So I'm going to go with the Ravens there. In the NFC is the Packers to lose at this point. They're slowly getting healthy starters back, and if Rodgers doesn't win it this year, at this point, he never will again. I can almost agree with that, Chris.
Especially because Rodgers now has the top 10, top 5 defense. So he doesn't have a defense. Mm-hmm. He has a defense, and now it's strictly just on him to get it done.
Absolutely. So, I think the road to the Super Bowl goes in the NFC goes through Green Bay. I think Green Bay obviously gets the 1 seed for me as well. I listen. I know he was limited at practice. I heard what I said. At the same time, like I said, if he can come back, I mean, they got 2 more games. If Huntley can squeeze out one of those games and Lamar comes back fresh, I think that I'm going to go with the Ravens here. But so like I said, I think Green Bay locks it in as the number 1. Dallas is going to be 2. I think the Rams will end up being 3. I think just because of Dallas's schedule is a little bit, I don't want to say it's a cakewalk for them, but it's technically an easy schedule. Moving forward, they got division games, so every division game is tough. But I think Dallas will pull those out, remain number 2. Rams at 3. Tampa, I think, ends up being at 4 just because I think the Rams are hitting their stride. Arizona, I honestly was almost inclined to putting them out the playoffs. They don't look good right now. They just don't look good. But I think the last 2 teams Yeah, I'm gonna go with San Francisco and the Falcons. That's it. That's all I'm gonna say. You know what I'm saying? The Falcons, the Eagles gonna lose out. The Falcons gonna slide up in there. We gonna get into the playoffs. We gonna get bounced in the first round. We don't care though, because we gonna get into the playoffs. You heard it here first. You know what I'm saying? That's what's gonna happen. And with that being said, I'm jumping into the game picks because that's my pick right there. The Falcons, we're gonna win out. That's right. We're going to win out. The Eagles going to lose out, and we're going to sneak up into the playoffs, and that's what's going to happen. And Kyle Pitts is going to have 178 yards in his first playoff game. I said it. You heard it here first. It's time for the game picks.
I got to go.
There
I gotta go out of that one.
I'll start with you with your game pick. Give me your game picks, and we will let you go. We know you got some places to be, so give me your game picks and your one explanation.
Jaguars, Patriots, Falcons, Bills. Come on, Falcons. Get it done. This is your time to shine. You want to make the playoffs, get it done in Buffalo. Giants, Bears. I'm taking the Bears. Chiefs, Bengals. Good, underrated, good game. I'm going to do it. I'm going to take the Bengals. I got the Bengals with the upset. Dolphins, Titans. I'm taking the hottest team right now in the NFL. I'm taking the Dolphins. Raiders, Colts. I'm taking the Colts. Buccaneers, Jets. Buccaneers. Eagles, Washington. Eagles, Rams, Ravens. I'm going to do it. I'm going to take the Ravens. I think the Ravens, I know this is a little bit of contradiction, but I think the Ravens somehow beat the Rams, and it's going to come off of a Matthew Stafford interception. That's how they're going to win. Broncos, Chargers. I'm going to take the Broncos. Texans, 49ers. 49ers, Cardinals, Cowboys. This is one of my quick explanation game. It's going to be really quick. This is going to be a really potential game of the week. Trayvon Diggs going up against that Arizona. I would love to see him against AJ Green. That's going to be a very underrated matchup. Dak Prescott's going to sling that ball around, man. I think this is a game where he's going to come out there and he's just going to light it up on the field. Like you saw what they did last week. He's gonna top that performance. I'm gonna take the Cowboys, Panthers, Saints. I'm taking the Saints, Lions, Seahawks. I'm gonna take the Seahawks, Vikings, Packers. Last time the Vikings and the Packers played, the Vikings came up with the upset. That was at home. Packers at home. Like Chris said, they get some starters back. I'm taking the Packers. Browns, Steelers. Big Ben possible last game. How is it going to end? It's going to end with the loss. Baker Mayfield and the Browns are going to do what they did last year. In the playoffs, they're going to blow them out again, and the Browns are going to win. That's my game pick. Can I get my hot take real quick?
Please. Go
ahead. All right. My hot take is, I'm going to do it, Avery. This is for you. Kyle Pitts goes off against that Buffalo secondary. 200 receiving yards.
Let's go!
2 touchdowns. Falcons win by 7. Falcons win by 7.
Let's go. You feel me? That's what I'm talking about, Darius. We appreciate you.
Happy New Year, fellas. I will see y'all next year.
Yes, sir. Real quick, let me give Darius his record. He is 136, 104-1. He's the first to 100 losses, unfortunately.
Wow, guys, you're loud. You're screaming.
He's still in last place, but it's all good. New year, new things. We appreciate you, man. Happy New Year to you. Be safe. God bless. All right. So, Coach, listen. Let me just lay the landscape here, okay? I went 11-5. Juan went 11-5. Darius, because he didn't get his picks in, he has to take the 11-5. Coach had the best record this week at 12-4. Got one game on us, bringing him back into a tie for second place with Juan at 142, 98, and 1 each. And then I am at 152, 88, and 1. So, listen, I got 10 games on you guys. We got 2 weeks left. It's still open for you guys. I mean, it really is.
Listen, I'm just hoping you lose 6 this week and 6 next week, and I'll be fine. I mean,
and you're good to go. So give me your game picks. Talk to me. Who do you think is going to be upset and do everything? Is Matt Ryan throwing that? Yes, absolutely is. Matt Ryan for president. As long as he just stops slapping the ball. Matt Ryan, you got to stop slapping the ball. Man. You just really got to stop.
Matt Ryan is not going for no president. He might go for secretary at best. So this is my picks for this week. So we got the Eagles versus Washington. I'm sorry, Eagles definitely going to win. Washington just got creamed. Bucks versus the Jacks. We're going with the Bucks here. Fins versus the Titans. I'm going with the Titans on this one. I'm only going with the Titans on this one because I don't. It's something about it. I don't know. Pats versus the Jags. I'm going with the Pats. Colts and the Raiders. Jonathan Taylor. That's all that needs to be said. Chiefs and the Bengals. Chiefs. Bears and Giants, as Darius said, that's gonna be a really good game, low key. The Bears will win it though. I'm sorry, I'm not with you on this one. Bills is gonna win versus the Falcons. I'm sorry, I'm a realist on this one. 49ers will win over the Texans. Bolts versus the Broncos. I'm going with the Bolts here. Panthers versus the Saints. I'm going with the Panthers. Hawks versus the Lions. I'm going with the Hawks. Cards versus the Cowgirls. I'm going with the Cowgirls. You know what? I might have to change my pick just for that, yo. Vikings versus the Packs. I'm going with the Packs. Browns versus the Steelers. I'm going with the Browns. In my explanation game, Ravens versus the Rams. I'll make this kind of brief. Huntley is back. Huntley will be our starter this week. So I feel a lot more confident in going into this game. And then especially when you think about the last time we played the Rams, it was a 45-6 blowout. Lamar Jackson was MVP that year. A lot of things have changed. Now the Rams have Von Miller. They have Aaron Donald. They have Jalen Ramsey. They have Odell Beckham. I'm ignoring this right now. Leave me alone, you Eagles fans. But I do believe when you think about how we've played since Lamar has been hurt, we've done pretty well other than the Bengals. So, with that being said, I'm going with my team here, the Ravens, to win. But this will be a very close game, and this game will be won by 1 point. That 1 point will be the 1 point we lost versus the Packers, and the same would be lost to the Steelers. We're going to get that 2 point conversion this time versus the Rams.
Okay. I like it. Nice little upset in there. I like it. I'm not mad. I'm not mad at all. All right. So basically, Darren's a newfound Eagles fan. Ladies and gentlemen, if you did not heard it here first. Yeah. I mean,
I just want him fired. So I don't want to hear him for president now.
Hey, listen, man. All I'm saying is Darren has definitely been on the Fire Howie train. He's definitely been on the Fire Howie train.
For sure.
So I don't know. I mean,
sure.
He might be.
Listen, Fire Howie is a real thing. Howie is terrible other than them 3 first round picks y'all got. Other than that, I don't know what y'all want him for.
I'm just saying it sounds like he wants y'all to fire the guy who's, keeping y'all back. He wants y'all to elevate. Sound like he's an Eagles fan. But anyway, so I'm gonna go Falcons versus the Bills. You already know. Bills. I gotta go with my boys. You already know I gotta go with my boys. Falcons, baby. We're gonna get that W. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna get that W this time. You know what I'm saying? Giants versus the Bears. I'll go with the Bears here. I think actually, you know what? The Giants. I'm gonna go with the Bears. Just because I'm not sure about Daniel Jones and his health right now. If Daniel Jones was fully healthy, I actually would pick the Giants. But because we're unsure right now, I'm gonna go with the Bears. Chiefs versus the Bengals. I'm gonna go with the Chiefs. Dolphins versus the Titans. I'm going to take the Dolphins here. I'm actually going to take the Dolphins in this game. They're playing really well right now. Jerome and Darren are agreeing a lot today. Sounds like Eagles fans to me. That's all I'm saying. Raiders versus the Colts. I'm going to take the Colts here. Jaguars versus the Patriots. I'm going to take the Patriots. Buccaneers versus the Jets. I'm going to take the Buccaneers. Eagles versus the Washington football team. Actually going to be game of the week, in my opinion. I'm going to go with the Eagles as well. Rams versus the Ravens. Y'all are tripping. It's going to be the Rams. Broncos versus the Chargers. I'm going to go with the Chargers. They get back on the winning ways of football. Texans versus the 49ers. The Texans have been playing good football recently, but I'm going to take the 49ers here. Let's see. That's what Eagles. Yeah. That's what they do. That's what they do. You know what I'm saying? Cardinals versus the Cowboys. Give me the Cowboys in that one. Panthers versus the Saints. Give me the Aints in that one. Lions versus the Seahawks. Take the Seahawks. Vikings versus the Packers. I'm going to go Packers. Browns versus the Steelers. I'm gonna say the Steelers in that one. Yeah, I'm gonna say the Steelers in that one. And actually, I think I'm gonna flip my pick just to keep my hot take in order. Washington football team beats the Eagles. That's right, because the Eagles got to lose out for the Falcons to get up in there. The Eagles about to lose this game. That's right. I'm sorry to disappoint you, Coach. I know you're a fan of the team, but I'm going to go ahead and pick the Washington football team right there over the Eagles. You know what I'm saying? Gotta keep it in there. Darren's ditching Lamar for Jalen.
They're not even close. It's not even close.
Yeah.
It's not even close.
I love it. I absolutely love it. Listen, that's going to do. Actually, you know what? Let's get to the hot takes. Let's get to the hot takes. Because I want to hear your hot takes because you clearly steaming right now. So we're going to do hot take Thursday, and I'm gonna let you have the floor here.
All right. So real quick, I got two hot takes for you. One's going to be on this Eagles game that everyone's talking about, and then the other one I kind of already gave to y'all. The Ravens and the Rams. The Ravens are going to win by 1 point, but what I didn't mention about that game is because when people don't know this, Mark Andrews right now is the best tight end in the league. He leads every major category for tight ends in the league, whether it be receptions, touchdowns, he's tied for, and yards. And he's going to increase that and make it even crazier. He's only 230 yards away from breaking the single season tight end record held by Travis Kelce, which he did last year. Mark Andrews cannot be stopped. Mark Andrews goes for 250 this week versus that Rams D. Our wideouts aren't going to be open with Jalen Ramsey, but Mark Andrews is going to feast. You heard it here first. But for the Eagles in the Washington game, because I'm a Philly native and I do respect the Eagles, I will do this one time for y'all, one time only. That's all y'all got.
He threw up a banner. He is a fan.
So, Eagles, the hot take for this Eagles and Washington game. Washington, we all know, lost heavily bad. And I mean heavily bad last week, 56-14. So, I'm going to go with another blowout here. The Eagles already blew out the Giants the week prior, and now they're going against another team that just got blown out in their division. Eagles win this game by 31.
By what?
31. 3-1. Yes, they win by 3-1. 31 points. They beat the Giants 34-3. I don't see why not. They keep it rolling.
Wow. I'm shocked. I'm at a loss of words.
That's definitely her banner. That's definitely her banner. We're not gonna do this. She'll respond it over here. No. Eagles fans, I'm not a part of y'all. I respect y'all as a Philly native. That's it.
Listen, man. Word around town is you got that from the Eagles Pro Shop. That's all I'm saying. You know what I'm saying? But I'm speechless. Okay, hot takes. I like it. I'm not mad at my hot take. I already said it. The Falcons going to make the playoffs, baby. You know what I'm saying? We're going to squeak in there. We're going to get in there. We're going to get that last playoff spot. That's right. You know what I'm saying? You feel me? We're going to do it. You know what I'm saying? That's just what it is. That's what we're going to do. I'm sorry?
You only need 1% for hope.
You feel me? That's it.
1%.
You got 1% chance.
Got a little hope.
Listen, that percentage is going to shoot up after this week when we beat the Bills. You feel me? Anyway, that's going to do it for us here at the Air It Out Podcast. Thank you all for jumping in on the comment section. Don't forget to follow us on all your social media platforms. That is Instagram at Inside the Hashes. That's on Twitter at Inside Hashes. And that's Facebook, Inside the Ashes Pro Football Talk. Please do that. And don't forget to like and subscribe on YouTube. And when you do subscribe, hit the notification button so you can get all the notifications when we go live, because we want to interact with you as the fans. We want to see your comments. As you can see, we do this live, and we like to hear what you guys got to say, even if you are an Eagles fan like Darren. And then don't forget to check out the website, www.insidethehashes.com. You can get everything, blogs, gaming, player interviews, podcasts, all of those things. We are the apex of football. It is Inside the Hashes. This is the Air Out podcast. My name is Avery Collins. He's Darren Braxton, a.k.a. Coach. Happy New Year to you, Pop. Happy New Year to you, our CEO, Mr. Jerome Jones. He says, go blue one time for the one time. You know what I'm saying? It's going to be a beautiful New Year. We will see you in 2022. I can't wait. Can you wait? I'm just saying, listen, before we go, Matt Ryan, if you could please just stop patting the ball. Like, I can see when you're about to throw the football, because you pat the ball, and when you pat the ball, everybody can see that it's coming. Defenders can see it as a corner. I know it's coming. So stop patting.